Good afternoon, everyone. This is Zombie Kids Rule, and I'm back with a quick demo of a new project that I've been experimenting with. I'm still working on my Sudoku game, but this kind of captured my interest and my attention, so I've been experimenting with a a hybrid of a Yahtzee poker mechanic as part of combat for a an RPG game. So this is just the experiments that I've been doing recently. I wanted to highlight what I've done so far. Just these are all placeholders. This is just really proof of concept to see how things would look and how they would operate. So any text boxes like the one on the screen right now, those are all placeholders. Those are just efficiencies, making it easy for me to test out the concepts and how they would work. So again, this is a Yahtzee-Poker mechanic that would be used as part of combat in a RPG type of a game. Again, lots of placeholders, and this isn't completed. I've built up to a certain point so far, but I just kind of wanted to highlight what I've got so far. I do apologize. I have been sick for about a week. So if I sound a little off or what have you, still the whole household's getting over the flu and other assorted things. All right, so this is, as you can see up here, there are primary actions, there are special actions. These kind of mimic the Yahtzee type of thing, only you add the concept of a pair instead of, and also two pairs. Unlike the regular Yahtzee, you have instead of numeric dice like one through six, you have actions. So attack, power, defend, guard, skill, move, command, equip, use, and free choice. And these are your dice. So there's also some elements of that you can reserve certain things on a sheet. So you can reserve a certain number of die 8 rolls because that's what you're using instead of die 6. You're using die 8. You can reserve a certain number of die 20 rolls, and you can reserve actual specific dice rolls from a die 8 to use later on to perhaps fill out something you need. And then you also have the a mechanic, which I haven't built out yet, to reserve actual full turns. Instead of placing them in your sheet, you can actually reserve actions. Here are your placeholder dice that will be rolled. Okay, and the first thing it does is it wants you to show your intent for this particular turn. And there's a whole bunch of rules behind this. I'm not going to explain them. But with the intent, when I say this is just a placeholder, choose your intent for this turn. So if I don't choose my intent, and if I click intent, it'll say you must select your intent for this turn before rolling. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to pick what you really would like to do this turn. What would you like to do as an action for this turn? And so I'm just going to pick attack, and then I'm going to click intent. Are you sure you want to select this action as your intent for the turn? If you take this action as part of your turn, you will receive an additional bonus. So if I actually get enough of the dice that I want to actually take the attack instead of something different, then there would be a bonus behind the scenes. So yes, no, again, these are placeholders. Your intent is to use the attack action this turn. Placeholder mechanic, let the player set the dice roll. Again, you would not do this every single time, but just for testing purposes, you can set the dice speed. So I'm going to show all three. I'm going to select short, and then I'm going to select roll. So this changed from intent to roll. And these are all going to change at different speeds. There we go. This is the short roll. I have no attack dice. So, and I don't have actually any multiples of anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and re-roll again. Okay, still don't have any attack dice. I do have a couple move dice, which might be useful depending on what I want to do. And then roll. And that's the end. That's the 3. So you notice that there is 0 of 3 now, and those were changing. I'm going to go ahead and just select these. That's what I am going to choose. And again, these are all placeholders. Now, behind the scenes, it has run all of its checks to say, what can you actually choose on your sheet? So I do have a defend dice. I have a skill dice. I have a move command. I have an equip use. So I can choose any of those. I also have a pair. So I have at least a pair, and I can always take my chance. So I'm going to pick pair here. So when I click here, it's going to ask me, are you sure you want to confirm, or are you sure you want to choose? I'm going to say no. I could pick something different. Are you sure you want to choose? No, I am going to pick pair, and it's going to replace the boxes with the actual icon, right? The actual image for move command. Now, again, this is just the first part of it. Now, it would then move into the actual combat turn against an enemy or enemies. But this is just the beginning part. It basically, the Yahtzee-Poker element determines what you're able to do in that turn. It's kind of like the concept of, I really want to attack, but things play out in a way that that's not my best choice. So I'm going to actually move or issue a command instead. I've built this now so I can just repeatedly test it. You'll notice that there's no dice over here. There's no reserves. These are now reset with intent. So if I click this again, it's going to say, hey, you have to set your intent. I'll choose attack again. It's just going to ask me the same things again because this is just placeholder. I'm going to choose medium this time. All right, so now I actually have 2 attacks. So I'm going to select those, and it's going to re-roll these. Oh, now I've got 3. So I'm going to select all 3 of those, and I'm going to roll one more time. Oh, now I got 4. Okay, good. I can test a portion of the mechanic that I was recently built. So again, these are all just placeholder mechanics as far as how they're going to function. I'm going to select 4. When I select end turn, it's now going to, it runs through its checks and it says, hey, you have attack dice, you have a power dice. So that's all you can pick over here. You could pick a pair again if you really wanted to. You could pick 2 pairs. You could pick 3 of a kind if you really wanted to. You could pick 4 of a kind because you have all those, and of course you have chance. I'm going to pick the attack over here because this is going to allow me, actually it would as well as if I picked 4 of a kind. I haven't programmed out the 4 of a kind, 3 of a kind down, right? So I've only programmed this portion and up to here. I haven't programmed these portions yet. But if I pick 4, if I pick attack over here, and there's 4 of them, it's going to ask me, do I want to do that? Yes, I do. Now, this is just a placeholder. You don't have to worry about this. I thought I removed that, but again, it's just for testing purposes. Now it says I don't have any reserves. You can still gain either a die 8 or die 20 reserve roll. And that's because the way just designed so far, if you get 4 of something, you have a chance of getting a reserve. If you get 5 of something, you're guaranteed a reserve to gain a reserve slot. And again, the rules behind it, there's a whole bunch of rules. So since you have 4 action dice, there's a 50% chance of gaining a random reserved reroll. It's, again, these are all placeholder. 85 chance, that means I gained one. You gained a die 8 reserved reroll, and these are going to change over here. So now I have 1 reserved of 3 for a die 8 roll, which means that I haven't built the mechanic yet, but I would be able to roll again instead of 3 times. See how it says 3 of 3? Instead of 3 times, I could choose to roll again to try to get something that I need, right? So that's what these reserved rerolls are. Whereas these values are actually a dice result, like an attack or a power or a guard. And I could use those to swap out for results if I needed something desperately, like I needed to fill out my large straight, or I needed to fill out, something like that. Okay, so again, I can just keep going here. There's my intent. Okay, and then roll speed again. We'll do long roll. Just rolls a little longer. Now I have 2 defend. Okay, so I'm going to pick that anyway. That's not what I wanted to do. I could do power, but I'm going to do defend. Okay, so now I've got 3 of a kind. at least, if that's what I wanted. Oh, see, now I have a full house. So now, in theory, I don't have to click these because there's no more rolling. Again, if I don't click these, it's still going to give me my same choices. The clicking on those was just to keep them from being rolled again. It's the way to save the dice. So I'm going to click End Turn. And it says, hey, you have attack dice, you have defend dice, you could pick a pair if you really wanted to. You could pick 2 pairs if you really wanted to. You have a 3 of a kind if you wanted to. You have a full house if you wanted to. Again, haven't built out the 3 of a kind full house yet. I will pick 2 pairs, though. So I'm going to pick 2 pairs. Are you sure you want to choose that? Yes, I do. And it automatically takes the 2 that I had a choice of, is 2 attack, 2 defend. But you also notice down here, and this is the extra dice. That was the extra, and actually that's a mistake. So I'm gonna have to check into that right there, because the end result was a full house, and that was because I didn't click the 5 dice at the end, right? I didn't click that last time to say which dice I wanted, which means it took it from the end of the second round, and one of those dice was a guard. So what it did was it said, hey, you're keeping 2 pair, which is here. Because of that, there's an extra dice, and that's one of the rules behind it. You get to save that. So if I had selected those 5 dice like I should have, or the way I designed it originally, then this right here would have ended up being the 3rd dice that was the result as one of my options. Okay, so now I'll have to take a note of that. But again, this is all just proof of concept testing purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and do another one. Yes, I want to choose that. Again, we'll just choose a random. You wouldn't choose the roll speed each time. Okay, I'm going to pick. So I'm going to show you what happens if you do. You can replace things. Unlike regular Yahtzee, you can replace. Okay, I'm going to pick those again. And then, well, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I now have 2 pair again. And now this is that actually that won't change. It actually might add another one now. It probably should. So I'm going to end my turn. I can pick 2 pairs again. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to pick 2 pairs, and yes, it changed it. Right? It changed it to the 2 options, and it added another extra dice, which is what it's supposed to do. And again, there's a whole bunch of rules behind this, but with 2 pairs, you'd be able to take 2 actions that turn against an enemy. You could take a regular attack action, and you could take a power attack action. All right, so we're going to go ahead and actually it doesn't matter what I pick for intent because the actual next part isn't built yet. Okay. Now, free choice is coded where you have to have 3 of them at a minimum in order to use free choice. Free choice means you can pick any of these that you want. So if I pick this and I don't get a 3rd one, oh, I did. Yay! That means I can use it. And then, oh, now I have a full house again. So I'm going to pick all of these, and I'm going to choose, actually I'm just going to end my turn, which now gives me all of my choices, right? I can do free choice, I can choose guard, a pair, 2 pairs, 3 of a kind, full house, and chance. I'm going to do pair because that's going to show a different functionality. Why you would do that, again, won't get behind the rules, but I'm going to pick pair. You've already used it. Do you want to do it again? Yes, I do. Based on the final dice results, you have 2 options for the pair. Please select which dice you want to use for the pair. I can either choose the guard, or I can choose the free action, or the free choice. So I'm going to pick free choice, and that's what shows up over here. Okay, and that's how that function works. So basically what I have so far is I have all of these. I have the rules behind all of these, and you can replace them. So you can do attacks as many times as you want. When you finish a sheet, when you completely finish a sheet, there are certain bonuses that apply, experience points that you get, and then you start another sheet. And over here, I've coded the pair and the 2 pairs, and I'm starting to work on the rest of these with the associated rules. I've built in the rules for if you get 4 of the same dice over here, um, or you get 5, that you have either with 4 you have a chance of getting a die 8 or a die 20 reroll, earning it. And if you get a 5, then it's a guaranteed if you can earn them, right? Once you use them, then you can't earn more. So you can only use a maximum of 3 of each kind, and then there's no more until your sheet is done. So you finish your sheet completely and start a new sheet. I also have built in the concept if you get a 1, it should take away a reserve slot that you have. So actually, let me try that. Again, these are all just placeholders, testing the concepts. Okay, I have a 1, so let's see. Just going to keep that. Perfect. Okay, so I have a 1, and I decide for whatever reason I absolutely want to use an attack. I don't want to guard. I don't want to. I can't use free action, right? You're free choice. You're gonna notice when I say end turn, free choice is not an option because I have to have at least 3 of those. However, I could take a pair as that, which I have to decide whether I want to allow that or not. Whether I want you to allow the player to do a free choice with only 2 as a pair choice. I have to figure that out. So I'm going to pick attack, and yep, I am going to do that. And since you have only 1 action dice, you will lose a reserved reroll. I only have 1 to lose, and it shows me this. Again, this is just placeholders for testing. I lost a die 8 reserved roll, and now it's down to 0 again. And now this is back to 1, and now my total dice on this side is 1. And again, there's a whole bunch of rules behind this that I'm still working on about you have to get a certain amount of dice over here to get a bonus. All right, and that sort of thing. And I think that's pretty much all the mechanics. If you roll a nat 1, or if you get a 1, that's a bad thing. There's negatives applied. There's penalties applied. The higher you get for rolls, the more bonuses or positives that happen. So with 4s and 5s, you get a lot more bonuses when it comes to the actual attack part, or the actual, I should say, combat part of the next stage, right? So I've built out all of this with the 1 as well as the 4s and the 5s, the pair and the 2 pairs, and the ability to gain rerolls or possibly gain rerolls, and these additional dice here, or the dice results. And I'm still have to finish these parts out here. I have to finish the mechanic for actually using these. Like if I were to be on my 3rd roll, I did my 3rd roll and I said, oh, you know what, man, I really need one of these dice, and that'll help me finish something out. I could then swap the dice with these that I have reserved, and I haven't built out these reserve actions yet, where if I do my whole turn and I say, you know what, I don't want to record that turn over here or over here, I'm going to record it as a reserved action that maybe I might use later. Anyway, again, there's a bunch of rules. And that's pretty much what I have so far. So I don't know if this is interesting to people, cool. If not, that's fine too. But it's just something I'm very curious about. I'm very interested in, and I want to build it all out to see how it functions. I don't see any reason why I can't do this. I haven't come across anything so far. I already have the logic that says that you can choose these based on your final results. I just need to build out all the stuff for assigning the actual values and things like that. And so I haven't stumbled across anything yet that seems that I can't do based on my knowledge or research. And once I get the full sheet done, I will move into the testing portion of the actual combat and see how the bonuses and the penalties all come into play, and that sort of thing, the interaction. And so that's the concept, using a combination Yahtzee poker element to basically decide what you can do in combat for your particular turn. And again, these are the actual command, I should say, I guess, combat choices. These are your combat choices you can use. And then the special actions are things that specifically you get certain bonuses for these special actions, right? So a large straight, four of a kind, full house. Basically, full house and two pairs, in theory, allow you to do two actions, and then two pair can actually be. You can use two pairs instead of four of a kind if you wanted to. You could actually do that. So anyway, the bunch of rules behind that I'm still working on. I have to test them for how they actually play together, and whether or not they would even be fun to do this. But this is just something that captured my interest, and I wanted to show it off. Now, I meant to do this disclaimer at the very beginning. I apologize. I meant to do it right up front in case anybody was impacted by it. But I do use Google AI mode to research JavaScript. So when when I'm trying to do something in JavaScript and I'm struggling and I can't figure it out for myself, I will use Google AI as part of my research, and I will look at whatever it returns. I will look at each portion of the JavaScript, and I will make sure that I can understand it. I will ask clarifying questions. I will do additional research on the different pieces of the script to make sure I understand what's happening at each stage, and then I will modify that. I will fully test it, and if it functions the way I want it to function, and I understand what it's doing, then I incorporate it. So I use Google AI as part of my research into learning and understanding and using JavaScript. Um, if that bothers people, I want to put that right out there because I do it, and I am unapologetic for it because to me it's a tool. It's I know that there is a lot of delicacies, a lot of sensitivities around the use of AI. Especially when it comes to graphics and music and things like that. I am not using it for that. Instead, I am using it as part of my research to figure out how to do things and to understand what things are happening. And I'll just be 100% honest. I have learned more in the past few weeks working on this particular project, experimenting with this project, using Google AI to help figure out scripts, figure out why they work, figure out exactly what they're doing, and in conjunction with the online course that I'm doing for JavaScript and the book that I'm using to learn JavaScript. I have found I have vastly improved on my understanding of JavaScript and how to do certain things. So I meant to do that right at the beginning, but I'm putting it out there now. So if that really bothers you about using AI as part of research purposes, well, I mean, then you're been forewarned. Um, I don't just ask AI to give me a script and then copy and paste it and use it. That's not what I do. I use it as part of a learning process, and I understand. I make sure I understand what's happening. Um, and to me, that's no different than actually. To me, it's better to use AI and to try to understand what it's doing and to research further the elements of it and to make sure I understand the different pieces than it is to just say, oh, here's an answer to your question. Here's a script. Go ahead and use that without understanding what the script is doing. So, and I've done that before. I have definitely asked questions, been given scripts by people, and because they said, hey, this script will work for you. And I haven't completely understood what the script does, and I still have used it in my games. Some people don't have a problem with that because they're like, oh well, a human did it. But if you have AI help you, apparently there's some concern there. And anyway, I just want to put it out there. I use AI to research, develop, understand, and learn JavaScript. Again, if this is interesting to you, awesome. I will build out more of this and then maybe do another update. But for now, this is just what I've worked on so far. Just this Yahtzee poker portion of it, without moving into the next stage of actual combat, where you then take your turn. You get to do your attack. You get to do your power. You get to take your two, your attack and power actions in combat. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I hope people are doing well this season. I hope you don't get sick, because it's, quite frankly, it's miserable. And I hope you're, making improvements on your projects, if you're working on game developing, or whatever it is you're working on. If you're trying to learn game developing, RPG Maker MZ, or if you're trying to learn more about JavaScript like I am, I wish you luck. I wish you the best of success, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. All right, bye everyone.